Alright, I'm in a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. Purpose of this video is to show Chrysler, the Chrysler rep, and anybody else looking at one of these vehicles right now, the issue they have with the HVAC climate controls. I pulled my car out of the garage. As you can see, it's 37 degrees. I've got just under 7,000 miles. I've had this car throughout this cold winter in the Northeast, and the HVAC system in this car does not behave like any other manual system I've had. I probably had over 20 cars by now over the last 20 years, as I lose interest quickly. And manual modes typically run where when you set the temperature gauge, that is the temperature that the air blows out. It appears in this car there is no real manual mode. If you set the car to 60, the car will try to get to 60 as fast as it can. And in the beginning, it'll blow really hot air out, and then it will blow cold air out because the car is too hot, and that cycle will continue to repeat itself. So I almost think the 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee is a woman possibly having menopausal issues of hot and cold flashes. So enough of my gibberish. Let's start the HVAC system up, and let's see what happens. So for the testing purposes, I'm going to put the fan on 3. You see that I have it set to 60. The car right now is 60. You see that I have a, well, you may not be able to see, but I've got a thermometer gauge taped to the vent there. And we're going to watch what happens. So again, it's set on manual. It's 60 degrees on the dash, a blower speed of 3, and the car has heat, because I put the car back in my garage not too long ago. So let's see what we can go up to. When I tested this earlier, it went up to 114, it went up to 120. So a little bizarre how this system's behaving. In fact, the temperature's much hotter than I ever thought it would have been after I took this temperature gauge out of my kitchen to see what this car is doing. I should note it doesn't matter whether you have the fan speed on 6, 1, or 3. I'm doing it on 3. It's almost middle of the road, I believe, here of the speed for the fan. But all it will do by having it faster is speed up the process of what you experience while driving this car. It becomes a sauna. Now, interestingly enough, it's 95 degrees. The temperature already read that the car was 60 or close to 60, so I'm not exactly sure why when I set a car to 60, a thermostat is pumping out 100-degree air plus to get my car warmer. I mean, aren't I at 60 already for the inside temperature? I think I was almost there when I started this experiment. So to note, the car engine has warmed up a little bit. So I think what happens as you drive the car, I pull out of my garage, I take a road trip somewhere to run an errand or go to work, and it becomes this sauna-like event. I've also read on the car forums on the Jeep garage site that this system is problematic during the summertime as well. So I'm not so sure how long I'm going to last with this vehicle. I've had it to the dealership once. The dealership was so adamant that it behaves like a wall thermostat. And as someone pointed out in the Jeep garage forum, my home never goes up to 100-some degrees to get my house to 60. So it's a very interesting theory from the dealership, who actually got a little bit pushy with me, and I was quite annoyed with the way I was treated. So I'm going back to the same dealer based on the request of the Chrysler rep for a second time, and I will then go to a different dealer for the third time. If this isn't fixed after the third time, then I'll have to see what I can do about lemon law rights, as I'm tired of wasting my time just for a $40-some thousand vehicle to get a heater that works appropriately. So you can see we're up to 123 degrees. I still have the car set to 60. I haven't changed anything. It's hard to see because it's nighttime, but that needle gauge from my meat thermometer is still taped there. I haven't changed anything. And what will happen at some point here after I get roasted out in my car, it will start to decline. And what I've realized is I used to think it got really, really cold to the point of having outside cold air blowing in. In fact, from the thermostat being taped here, I found out it doesn't get that cold. It actually goes down to 60 the way it's supposed to be working. But the problem is, after you've had 125 degree air blowing on you for 10 minutes, it feels pretty cold when 60 comes out. I'm not going to video the entire thing, but basically it will go down to 60 in the 60 range or 70 or so, and then it will go back up to really hot, and then go back down again, and then go back up again. So however they designed this system, it's not designed to actually have a consistent temperature air blowing out. As you can imagine, for those of us that live in a winter environment, having a heavy winter coat on, this would become quite miserable because the car becomes so hot. You might as well just take off your jacket before you get in the car because it's unbearable. I shouldn't say unbearable, it's uncomfortable, and it shouldn't be this way. So now it looks like we're on the decline. From holding my hand to the air vent, I can feel that the heat is decreasing. So this will probably take about another minute or 2 or 3 minutes to actually get down to the bottom temperature, where we're going to bottom out, and then we'll start jumping up again. So it is really a shame. I think Chrysler did a very good job of the layout of this dash. I know a lot of people have had Uconnect problems and the overall problems with the screen, but beyond this, I really haven't had many issues. I do think the transmission in this car is a little funky, but it's not anything that I absolutely can't live without. I can tell you I don't ever drive the car in eco mode, and I certainly don't get the advertised gas mileage because of doing so. That would be my other major complaint. Other than that, it's quite a nice vehicle. I came from a Honda Pilot, and I can't begin to tell you the difference in the quietness of this vehicle, driving it down the highway at 70 some miles an hour compared to a Honda. It really does feel like a really nice car inside. The steering is nice. Like I said, I really don't have any complaints. The heater, it's kind of important to a vehicle, so I can live with the gas mileage. It is a SUV, but I actually do like it very much. This is heat issue, so I'm really hoping that Chrysler is able to fix it, but I'm not going to continue to live with this for the life of this vehicle. So you'll see that we're going down to 89, 91, and it's continuing to decline. It is ironic, though. First car was a 1979 Ford Pinto when I was a junior in high school, and I think the heater worked better in that car, which was about $1,500 at the time, compared to my almost $40,000 Grand Cherokee. So certainly hope Jeep gets their act together and fixes it. You can see now we're down to 82, and I can tell you by putting my hand up to the vent, it does not feel 82 degrees or 80 now. It feels much colder than that, and that's because I think the car has been made so warm. So I'll keep recording this to see how low we actually get to on the thermometer gauge. Kind of curious. When I've been doing this, it's been varying. It's gone up to 114 as the high temperature, to 118, and then this one that I did is actually the highest it ever hit. The first time I recorded the low temperature, it went all the way down to 60 and then rebounded, climbing up again. The second time I recorded it with a meat thermometer, it went down to 68 or 66, and then started bumping back up. Now it almost appears like it may have stopped at 77, so we'll see if this actually... Nope, it's declining, it's going down. First American car in 20 years, and the first one I buy, the heater doesn't work correctly. Yeah, so this time, for whatever reason, I don't know what the difference is, but every time I've done this, the temperatures have moved higher. The high end, the top end of the temperature has gone up, and the bottom out temperature has gone up. So now it's actually going on the rebound because it's blown cold air in here. Now it's saying it's too cold, so now it's going to blow hot air. Again, I've kept all the controls at the same. We've got a fan speed of 3 set at 60. Now, one thing I will note to anybody looking at the car, hopefully others don't have this problem, but I have a brother that has the same car, and my cousin bought the same car a month after him. All of us made a purchase within 4 months of each other, and now my brother doesn't seem to have the issue, so I don't know if it's a build date issue of a sensor somewhere. I read that somebody online posted that they replaced a sensor somewhere, and it seemed to be better. My cousin, though, I can tell you, has the exact same problem. She and I got together at the holidays, and she was really complaining about the heater and doesn't understand what's wrong with it. And at that point, I went back in the car forums and took a look at the posts, and then realized it's a widespread issue. Now, if you actually bump this up to 60, what the dealership did for me was say, "Oh, look, I pushed the up button, and it made the air coming out of the air vent warmer." Yeah, that's correct. For that minute, it does that. That aspect, it does work. But it's just the worst system, because it'll sit at 67, that'll last another 5 minutes, and then it will drop really cold again and continue to go back and forth. For those of you that don't have a Jeep yet, where's auto? When I press auto, you'll see that there's an A on the dash. You don't know where the air is blowing. It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you what the fan speed is. And in automatic, when I set it to 67, I can understand that it's going to try to get to 67 quickly. But in manual mode should be blowing out when I'm telling it to blow out. I've never owned any foreign cars, Subaru, Nissan, Infiniti, any cars over the years that has behaved this way. So I think Jeep needs to get their act together, fix this for us. Otherwise, I think I'm going to pursue lemon law. So buyer beware in the 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Go out and look at the transmission issues if you're concerned about that. I haven't experienced that myself, and I'm okay with how it's running, minus the really poor gas mileage. But beyond that, this HVAC system is just total garbage. So hopefully Jeep watches this and gets their act together and gets a fix for those of us that are affected. Good luck, everyone.